So, obedience to me. This means from the smallest to greatest thing, and it's non-negotiable. It may be that I turn it off or not, but that's not the issue. The issue is complete submissiveness before God and me who are together. Understand it this way. On the earth, there is much junk. God and I are both aware of this, and we're to come back with the right person in the midst of being in this world. And God does not want junk for me. Blessed be my help and God above. Amen. If the circuit breakers are tripped, in other words, if the deal breakers are crossed, that individual is out, since we're just not compatible for each other. This is the major reason at this time why I visit the Q&A section on OkCupid, for example, and many times over, before I even look intently at someone's photos, which are not the most important thing. If the deal breakers are intact and we have agreement, then I can take photos more seriously. In fact, if we have agreements in many areas, including no deal breakers apparent, then photos are far less relevant. And that, for me, is the right mindset with which to approach finding the right individual. Substance over fading appearance. More objectivity over subjectivity that changes. More quality over neutral components of an individual. The deal breakers. I do want these certain areas answered, since that's being efficient with the time of both individuals and of mine from this end in particular. Why go and get to the third date, for example, trying to get certain important areas answered when I could have these things answered up front and with efficiency of time? In fact, unless I really want to get to potentially know someone that has failed to answer the deal breakers even minimally, I'll likely just pass by quickly. By the way, here's a phrase that is kind of apparent as truth to me when it comes to finding the right person, at least through these dating apps, if that's where success is to be found. And the phrase goes something like, "This is a war. Understand that and come prepared." Funny, I know, and perhaps it shouldn't be this all-out difficult trial, but the phrase remains for now. So it's important, let's go and begin with a profile here. It's important to read the self-summary. I know reading takes work, but that's how you get to know a person and where they're coming from. You want to make sure that you base a relationship in fundamental things like communication, like values, like what the person is all about. Appearance and other things are secondary or tertiary or something far, far behind what a person actually is. Just something to keep in mind. Words of advice, they're correct and true words of advice. So let's begin. And this seems like a good profile, nothing wrong there. There are not many Q&A answered here by the Filipina, for example. And I find that's very often the case, but some people, it's either one spectrum end or the other. Some will have 10 or 20 answered, and some may have 200, 300 questions answered, like myself. And those are the ones I really want to pay attention to. But if I don't find necessarily anything off or a deal breaker off, and the person has some valuable qualities or appears to have, I may just go ahead and send a hello. So that's what I did in this particular one, just a simple hello, see if you get a response. Okay, so for another profile to look at, I'm going to stay in the Philippines for right now and looking at different profiles. One of the main reasons is the religious faith values and family values, and they mean it. I mean, the individual general, when it's talking about that, really tends towards that and means it. So it's kind of a country set apart in that way. There may be other countries, but that one I'm familiar with and knowing. So I'm sticking with that for now. So this self-summary says hopeless romantic. That's a very good thing. I'm also romantic. Few questions answered, but nothing off really. So I just sent a simple message just to be kind and open up a conversation, somewhat saying about the photo, in my opinion, as being should be the main photo, one of them. And full body pic or not. I mean, sometimes I just prefer to see the person back from the camera really than up close. It just depends vis-a-vis the other photos that are apparent with a profile. Okay, so the next profile I really like too on the outfit. It connotes responsibility, which is a good thing. When I see a female or woman at work, for example, not that I want her to work so much in the future, that's kind of, the idea is kind of to get away from that, but it does connote responsibility and maturity, and that the person has goals and not emptiness or no life values, for example. So it appears to be toward one direction other than the other, and so it's very attractive quality for me. And personally, I would rather see a person, if I had to see some photos, I would prefer the attire of a simple girl at work over a beauty pageant, over bikini photos or stuff like that. That's more revealing. Doesn't reveal any quality to me per se, because I'm not looking at appearance first. It's very important not to go that route, because you have no idea what kind of person you're dealing with. It leads to easy blindness, or second, a failed relationship, or third, a bad heartache and failed relationship down the line. So you want to make sure that you begin searching or finding the right person according to true value, other than like I mentioned previously, secondary or tertiary or other things that are far behind what really should matter when looking for a right relationship. Okay, I'm going to branch off a little bit here. I am going with a Vietnam. A profile came up with that. There's not much said there. There's not much Q&A done at all. But the photos, I wouldn't mind talking a little bit with a person if they sent a message in reply. They want their next relationship to last the rest of their life. Are you ready to settle down? Absolutely. Things like that, they're important that I'd want to see. But some of the photos are really fantastic, like tend toward more wholesome or cultural. Even one of these is really, I like the kind of 60s or 70s look that is modest, like that in one of the photos as well. So I want to go ahead and told the individual a couple of the photos that I really liked and said interesting, and just see if you receive any reply. Okay, this textual content right here, I just really love so much. This individual says, I have my job now, but if I find someone, I'm willing to give up my work just to have full time with you and can be with you always. And I don't want to waste my time in dealing with people who just want to have fun. Many Filipinos would say that too. I don't want to waste time. I'm looking for something serious. So very important to take those at face value. But yeah, that's super to me, willing to give up work and the like, because that's what I'm looking for. I don't want someone who wants to go build a career after getting involved in a serious relationship per se. I mean, I'm not closed-minded totally for that. But I mean, if I am, that closed-mindedness is a good thing. I'm just saying the kind of individual that I am is that not everything is black and white sometimes, and you listen to the other individual. But this is a good profile. She has about 70 more or less questions answered, and we agree on quite a bit. One thing about OkCupid, if you look at the percentage rate, this one's 90%, for example. Agree 36, disagree 35. Well, that's not 90%, right? So I have no idea. That percentage must be a compatibility score other than the number of questions in which you agree on, because this one would be like 50% instead. But even if it was 50%, I would go ahead and kind of follow up here, I just send a hello or whatever it is I'm going to say, because there are certain aspects of the Q&A that I really like that are very important to me. I sent the message, great self-summary about what is looked for as agree with other person leaving work entirely, exclamation point. So I just wanted to make that clear to her that is A-okay. Very important to communicate up front. I feel that something that is of great value, that's important to the person that's mentioned in the profile and the self-summary that you can agree with, if you can communicate with some, that you feel strongly about that same area, if you really do, sincerely, of course, then that's a good thing. Okay, here's the next profile. This one, again, in the self-summary, just really catches my eye about, I don't mind however he looks, as long as he respects me as a woman. And I really like that, because if I'm going to rate myself on a 1 to 10 on the looks department, not in private life so much, because I would say that I'm better than the 2. I would give myself from 1 to a 10 if the world judges me, and I step out into public life or things like that. Maybe I'll, be looked at as a 2 from a 1 to 10. That's a-okay with me. I could be a 1 or less than that. 1, 2, a 10, whatever it may be, I still have to have my value system and what I look for. That's important, not to let the world sway you one way or the other. But I really do like that, because she also sees past the looks, or wants to, and has made that clear in the self-summary. So as I read further, the 95% compatibility, I guess, is really strong. Would you want to have financial stability? I mean, there's just a lot of things that are right on and in agreement with. So I did send the message about love your profile and the Q&A section with many agreements. If you don't mind holding the beauty and not minding how he looks, respond. Find out more, ask something or more. Okay, I have an interesting take on efficiency for the next profile. Again, we're gonna go over the concept of efficiency. The person says, basically, I'm white Caucasian, so that works for me. I'm Catholic, so that works for me. Catholic is very important to me. White Caucasian is who I am, right? But being Catholic is very important to me, part of my identity. She's saying video call is a proof that you are real. And I agree with that. I would want to go the way of video calls, especially an LDR or long distance relationship. Yeah, you're going to have to, that is kind of a given in my situation. But I went on to reply, a very good self-summary, however, would need the Q&A answered more thoroughly, because she only answered like 10 or a dozen things. Because I want to look for compatibility, I'm trying to tell her, before any video call. And I don't mention in there, that this saves time and all this. And I just wanted to keep it simple, but it really does save time. When you get to know someone beforehand, again, you're like going on the first, second, and even third dates before you even, potentially hear from them back. That's what's really good about OkCupid, is that Q&A section. You can tell so much about a person, and you save time. And if you're the guy and like to pay and the dating scene, you save money. But why not save time when online profiles and the online dating side of things takes up so much of it, because there's so many people involved in it? You want to be efficient. You want to save time. You want to kind of laser in and focus on finding the right individual. So you can't really take time usage for granted like that. So I was very firm in saying, hey, can you do this? And then we'll see about a video call, is basically what I'm saying. Another person just mentioned faith, and I just wanted to start up a little bit, just to send a like, just to send a message, just saying the faith is important, because this person feels it is important, and I agree, and just compliment nice photography. Maybe she has some skills with the camera apparent there. Okay, this next profile took me by a little surprise. I mean, here is a pretty girl that apparently looks more, I don't know, extroverted, outgoing. To me, probably been on a few dates. I don't know if I'm guessing. But the golden rule, virginity is the best gift for marriage, she says. Wow, that took me by surprise. So I'm going to just see what else I can find in the Q&A section, and just ask the question, does this describe you? Because I want to see, that's her golden rule, not her favorite statement or something like that. Then I would ask the question, but even if it's the golden rule, I still want to kind of ask the question. Here's another great thing from a Filipina in the Philippines. Let's see, as I went to the Q&A section, right? She's a fan of professional wrestling. I used to be a fan of professional wrestling growing up, and I call that the good old days. I would turn it on nowadays, but would you sign a prenup? She right away answered yes to that. I found that is a superb answer. I'm not looking to do that. In fact, I'm the kind of person that doesn't want to get that involved at all. The smarts of it are not, I know the issue, so I know the pros and cons and what people have all sorts of opinions on it. I'm just saying, for me personally, I'm not going that route. But it's great to hear that the other person would answer yes right away. So, I mean, they put themselves at that disadvantage, as it were, of not getting someone else's money. I don't know how you say that's a disadvantage. It's just the right thing to do. In a man and a woman relationship, if the man is doing all the work outside and earning the money, the bulk of it or all of it, I mean, it's senseful that you don't split that property if the person were to split up, forbid. But it is great to hear, because it tells you what kind of person she is. And I've heard from a Filipino or two in the past through interviews do that because they want the other person to know how much they respect them, want to back that up with truth, want to back up that respect, that they're not the money grabber, they're not out just to take. And that really is proof that a person is not there to just get all your money and run. So just superb answer. So I'm going to respond to that one.